ahead and share my screen. Right. Let me also make sure you're all able to hear me, you're able to see me, the live session. Let me also make fantastic. Awesome. So welcome to day 13 of the 15-day systems challenge. And if you've been thinking about this systems challenge, we did come a long way, which is understanding a few basic things. And today, the goal here is to understand your conversion path. If you can think about it, what do you think a conversion path is? It's simply, as you see in this diagram, this is simply for you to understand how your leads come into picture, which is something most of the time we all know. But the most important part that a conversion path is supposed to show you is why your leads are ghosting you. Even if you have the best of the email list, because most of the times I work with people who have over 5,000 email lists, even with beginner coaches that I work with, a lot of them have 5,000 at least as an email list. I have worked with people who have zero email list in the past, but if you're not focusing on email marketing, because that's where everything happens in the back end, most of the time, I'm a back end and automations girly. 90% of your business actually happens in the back end. The front ends are there for a reason, but if your back ends are not converting, if you are not investing, and if you think I don't have the money now to invest in a backend conversions systems, or I don't know how to invest in backend stuff, because I have X thing going on in my life, I have this Y thing going on in my life. So I decide, let me wait for that next client so I can actually pay a system strategist, or I can actually hire some support and some help. That's where things are falling, right? Things are falling through the cracks. That's when you don't know actually what's happening, why your leads are ghosting you. Because if you stop understanding why something is not converting and why your leads are ghosting you, when you stop that, it actually converts into sales. You have all of these nice lead magnets in your business, and then you're trying to do something to convert that people from being just free tire kickers or free consumers into actually consuming, into actually getting things from you, even if it's $1. Like I learned from Digital Marketer Lab, from Brian Dice. I absolutely love how he talks about having lead magnets are great. You can have too many lead magnets. That's not wrong. But if you don't know how to convert those free people, people who are, bought something from you for just free, $0, and if you're not able to get even $1 from them, then that's where things fall through the cracks. And it could be oftentimes not their problem, but what I have seen after working with 35 plus coaches who are new and who have had, over 20,000 social media followers, and we have invested $20,000 each month in ads. What I see is, you'll be surprised, the problem is 90% of the time you. And I know you're going to absolutely hate me saying this, but when you start understanding the actuality of why things are falling through the cracks, and if you're ready to put this into picture, because this is sometimes when I sit with my clients for their VIP day session, where we go through their entire strategy, we tweak what's working, what's not working in 2 days. That's when they see the picture, their eyes widen, and they're like, I did not know I was the problem. And which is why I designed this entire unit to actually show you how you can be the problem sometimes, how you are stopping, from trying to actually work with a strategist, and you think, I'm going to put it off until I get my next client. Your next client may or may not come until you fix what you have here right now. Okay. So that's what I'm thinking. Most people think that this is a lead problem, but actually, this is a conversions problem. Because, like I mentioned, people see you through social media if you're actively promoting. People see you through your emails if you have an email list. People are seeing you through maybe any of the things, right? Social media, email list, anything of that sort. But for them, to become a lead, which is a free, a lot of you don't even know the terminologies. It's okay. A lead is basically someone who has never purchased anything from you, right? They just downloaded one of your freebies or your lead magnets, and then they moved into, just into your email list. You're constantly trying to nurture them, you're trying to sell something from them, but they have never purchased even one thing, okay, from you. It's like $0 from them. And your back end, if you use something like Go High Level, it should have a custom tagging system for you to show that they have not purchased a single thing from you. It should still stay just as a lead, okay? Now, they become a converted customer, as I like to call it. I still use the jargons from, maybe from the 1950s. And simply because it makes it much easier for us to, the repetition makes it easier for us to understand where somebody is going from and to. So simply they become a converted customer when they invest at least $1 with you. Okay. So if somebody has never purchased something from you, that problem could be because of you. And I'm going to show you exactly how. Because most of the times, you are losing that customer because you don't have a clear offer path. Now, for instance, this is how a conversion path actually works, right? Somebody clicks on something in your landing page, let's say in your lead magnet, okay? Somebody goes to your lead magnet page, which should have a landing page, okay? Um, you should go into that. Somebody enters their first name and then their email, and then they click submit, and then they go into something, which is probably into an upsell. If you don't have an upsell yet in your business, which you should be having, you should ideally try selling them something if possible, something as low as anywhere between $1 to $20 there for you to start making instant money, because the average order value per customer right then and there when they click, because you are building their trust, the chances of them purchasing something even for $1 is very, very high. And if you don't have something there, then obviously you should put something like that in place. But once your messaging lands, right, they are supposed to go into your email list. And then your email list is supposed to actually deliver the resource and give them a set of things that they are supposed to, get, nurture them, and then so on. And let's say oftentimes you tell your audiences to reply with a pain point in the email. You know what happens? A lot of systems actually die right there. When you tell somebody to respond to something through emails, and let's say when they respond, okay, and then they're probably trying to book with you, the problem lies there, because a lot of these audits that I did 20 plus back-end audits, just starting from December and this January. And 90% of the times when somebody says a hello in your business, or they just say, hi, I have this question, and they've responded to something, there is no way for you to know that somebody has responded, because you probably use softwares which are disconnected, which are disjointed. So you have no idea what's going on right there. Or when somebody looks at, whatever you're trying to give them, I call them as potholes. There are potholes. There are dark corners in your systems where you are not able to retrieve what somebody says and what somebody does when they buy from you, right? So technically, when you ask somebody to respond and then they respond back, there needs to be a system that needs to talk to them, right? So the point is, do you have this path, right? If somebody downloads something, then they go into a system. Is there an automated messaging process? Is it going to convince them? Is it going to tell them who you are? And then when they reply, do you have a booking system in place? And then from the booking, if they ghost, do you have a system to bring them back? And if they actually are interested, is there a system to make sure that they buy from you? If I looked at your backend right now, do you think I can tell exactly where your conversations are breaking? And if you think you or I cannot tell where it's breaking, then that is a problem. You need to know if a lead is going from downloading the lead magnet to actually going into your webinar. If you're selling a mid ticket or a high ticket, maybe it's an evergreen webinar. And if you're not using these parameters in your business, then that is the fundamental problem. And then if you think, let me sit for some days, and then you think you need that big project for you to actually invest in a system strategist, invest in building backend systems, that's where the leak starts. Okay. With all of these 20 plus audits that I told you that I have done, here are four common places I am seeing conversions break, right? Conversations don't happen here. And because things are not working here, that's where the problem begins. And the first one, these are golden nuggets, so please make sure to take notes. The first thing, what I see here is that the entry. Entry is a problem for a lot of people, right? So when somebody says, I am interested in anything in your business, and probably you are replying manually or you're letting them sit for a few hours and then you're trying to respond, the problem is manual work takes time, or sometimes it's inconsistent, or you forget to reply to that prospect. It's on your calendar, it's probably on a sticky note, and you're not sure what needs to happen next. That's a problem. Because imagine if you're just doing one on one coaching, that's fine, that makes sense. But even one on one coaching at scale, let's say you have about 5 clients a month, and you're probably a mom of 2 kids, or you have 3 kids, and probably you're on a maternity break and you just don't know what is going on in your business. You have brain fog at times. As entrepreneurs, we all do. And then you have no idea what's going on. And then you forgot to respond to that mail. But probably they were interested in your mid ticket or your low ticket offer. And then you're trying to hold too tight, and then that lead just slipped away from you, right? This happens because you did not get back to them. And also, you waited too long to actually invest in a backend system that can do the most basic job, which is an automated email. Let's say when somebody says hello or I'm interested in something, it did not immediately ask them what they were interested in or actually give them the most basic options. Or you told them you'll come back, and then when you never came back. Okay. Number two is when they reply, like I mentioned, you're asking them to reply to one of your emails, for instance. This is something I do a lot simply because we have to train our audiences to actually talk back, right, with us. So when they reply to an email, right, and there is no response, you're not giving them any response, you're not giving them any context. So, which means you don't know that somebody actually, where did they opt in, which are the freebie they opted in for, what they watched, what they clicked, what's going on. When you do not know any of these, that's the problem. Because when somebody comes to you and they come to you asking for something, and then you never gave them an opportunity and you never told them what you're doing at this point, then that is a big problem. Then that is where you're telling people you do not know what is happening, right? You are not giving people the option to do things. Does that make sense? Number three is there is no follow up logic. So, which means when somebody does not reply, let's say when I go back to the previous instance, right, where somebody is replying to you and then they're booking with you, all of that stuff. But let's say when somebody is trying to actually reply to you, okay, and when they don't reply to you, do you have a logic? When somebody says they'll book a call with you and they don't book, is there a logic in their back end to actually bring them back? When I say logic, these are basically nurture sequences, okay? And when somebody says, not now, no, this is not the right time for you, just something happened. In my own business, right, as a funnels and revenue consultant for clients, what I do is, let's say when somebody shows up for the call, they book a call with me, they say I'm interested in what you have to offer, and then let's say they complete the invoice, then there are a set of automations that happens. But for instance, somebody is getting off a call with me by saying, I'm not sure if this is the right fit for me. Give me a couple of days' time. I have a few different sequences which shows them exactly why the service is the right fit for them. Examples of a few clients who have actually gone through this and how it can transform their business, and some testimonials and then some numbers. Oftentimes, you will be surprised to see that when somebody says, I think, they're just thinking, which means they're looking for a band aid solution, right? They're just looking for a quick fix. They're not looking for a permanent cure to see if there is something that actually cures their stuff. So, what I give them tells them how I don't band aid stuff for them. And if it has worked for others similar to them in the industry, it is also going to work for them. Make sense? And then number four, the place where conversations break is how everything depends on you remembering. Like I mentioned, these four are clearly showing that you sometimes tend to be the problem. Oftentimes, like I mentioned, this comes from proven statistics that 90% of the times it's us who's the issue, right? We forget to set things up, we forget to delay things, and that's why things happen. So, you are trying to remember, like I mentioned, this is great if you have one client a month, right? Sometimes you forget to follow up. Sometimes life happens. Sometimes, leads cool off. Let's say somebody is trying to hire a coach today, and then you let it cool off until the day after because you are on a vacation, or, you just simply forgot, you lost the client. So these are the predominantly four different places where when things are supposed to flow the right way and one thing breaks, everything breaks, even your high ticket breaks, right? And unfortunately, we can only DIY this up to some point, okay? Let me show you an example of a backend that I set up for a client, for instance, okay? I think I've done this a few times with you for this particular client where they had no specific purchase automation or abandonment sequence automation. What we do is we set up what's called custom tags, first of all. We set up custom fields, we set up custom values to understand what products they have in their business, right? Before we do anything else, we are trying to show them the list of products that they have in their business and how things are mapped, right? And then we have custom tags. This is where things start to actually work. We identify things with tags to understand where which person came from. There are what is called UTM parameters, which I will cover in another video if you're interested. We set up that specific UTM parameter so we understand if somebody has actually come from Instagram, or if somebody has come from Pinterest, or somebody has come from YouTube, somebody has come from an ad, somebody has come from Facebook, you get the idea. So we set up all of these, the custom fields, the custom values, so we know exactly what's going on within the business. And then based on that, we set up advanced automations. So which is for a freebie. If somebody is just free, there is a whole different automation that goes in place. It nurtures them and then it puts them into a $7 sequence. So it upsells them into one of the products. If somebody responds, then the system is supposed to identify that this person responded, and then we send them a series of emails. So there are people who go from just being prospects or just leads into, hey, I'm interested in one of your products, which is the $7 sequence, where we do some purchase automation stuff, we do some abandoned sequences automation stuff. As you see here, when they complete the order form, there is an entire thing that happens. There are emails that goes out, there are things that tells the person, which sends them internal notification and tells them that there is something happening, right? An internal notification here that actually tells them that they need a sale. We also give them information about who bought it, when did they buy, and also a tag is applied to that particular contact in a pipeline, right? So they see a pipeline, so which means every day all they have to do is just go into it to just see the pipeline, if that makes sense. And when somebody fails to purchase a particular product, there is an abandoned cart automation that happens. So the goal of this abandoned cart automation, this is still being launched, so which is why I don't see the numbers, it's all in draft. The reason why you see the abandonment cart automation is simple because when somebody forgets to make the purchase, we are trying to trigger these people to actually go ahead and buy with a set of emails, right? So there are a set of emails which are strategically put. Again, this is something which is custom we create for our clients, which is why I cannot click on that. But we actually create these automated sequences to show you what they can do, what they cannot do, and all of that, right? So there are tags and there are things in place. So which means when the client goes into a particular pipeline, we create an entire robust pipeline. So which means all you have to know is you have to know when somebody became a lead, they downloaded one of your lead magnets. Two, whether they purchased your $7 automation, they purchased your bump, they purchased your upsell, they purchased your membership if you have a membership, and then if they purchased your high ticket program or your mid ticket offer. If there are things, if you have a go high level account and then you don't have any of these things in place, and you're like, I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to put, then that is where a DIY is no longer going to work. It's a place where you can obviously not do DIY because, of course, you can watch these videos and you can absolutely map these things all by yourself. And most people don't, like I mentioned, because they're inside the business. Like you are focusing completely on the business. You're not sure what to do, and you cannot go sometimes above it. You cannot think of like a strategist. You cannot think of things where, how I would think of things for you because I create decision maps, I plant stuff in your business. So I know exactly what tags are happening, which means what is going on with the specific business. And this is exactly what I do as my job, right? For my clients inside of 90% of the times inside of Go High Level, and then inside of Active Campaign as a backend. If they have their sites on Show It, then we create that with Go High Level backends or with Active Campaign backends for Kajabi and so on. But I love Go High Level and ClickFunnels because of how robust things are, right? So the point here that you see here is that these are not just DIY automations, these are strategic stuffs. I'm designing how your conversations should move through a journey. So which means all you have to do is see the pipeline every day. So you know who's in your lead magnet list and then click on to see the tags where they are at in their journey. Okay. So if I could show one of the things, right, all you can do is I'm leaving the link below to this page because I built Go High Level case, obviously, setups for you. This is one of my landing pages for Go High Level setups. You can see if you're looking to hire a strategist, you can obviously see the list of setups that I've created for my clients, and there are 3 ways with which you can work with me for this one. The first one, let's say, is if you don't have a lot of funnels, if you're like, I know how to build things, or I have a VA, I have a team, but I just want somebody to do the migration and the core setup for me. So, which means take everything from different places and put it inside a Go High Level. And whatever systems are in the different places, you want a clear pathway inside Go High Level. So, that is tier one. You can see all of the pricing, everything is applicable here. You also see what are the things that you get. Of course, these are not things which sounds like a checklist, but a lot of you might want to see what we do things, but these are totally value based transformations, right? So that is why I say we work with founders. We don't work with people who just want to check off lists, then that's not something that might work. So this is for people who just want one off setups. You know how to do Go High Level, but you just don't have the time, or you're like, this is not my forte. I don't know how to do things. Then this is for you. Okay. Number two, so here I just give you a walkthrough video, no detailed documentation, but you can see there's a walkthrough video. You can then hire a VA for, $20, $25, whatever you want to do, an hour, and then, get this thing going with them. The second tier is actually the Go High Level systems optimization. So which means we still pull things from different places in your business, streamline it all inside of Go High Level. Plus, we create custom automations, just like what you saw. A lot of you may not have abandoned cart sequences, and you don't even know what the heck am I supposed to do with abandoned cart automations. So I create all of those robust pipelines that you need. So you can see the conversations flow. You can see how the pipeline flows. And then we create calendars for you. We create those new pipelines if they are needed. So all of these that you see here, right? I'm not going over the basic things, but you see we create custom automations based on where things are in your business. We map the entire ecosystem. We don't build funnels or do any of the copywriting for emails or funnels here. Those are just the 2 things you don't get in this package. But we also, like I mentioned, we set up robust automations and yeah, so the entire offer ecosystem mapping that you get inside the Clarity Sprint is usually here, right? You see the customer journey. Somebody comes in through this, what happens here? There are UTM parameters and links being set up. And of course, you get a 6-month support for this. So you know exactly what's going on, how things are, and then when you have some launches, we create retargeting campaigns to your audiences. Not retargeting, I'm sorry. We create re-engagement campaigns for your audiences, which means, let's say you have a dormant email list. You don't know what your email list is doing. You're trying to get some sales from it. So we create those emails for you. You can give me the copy of those emails, or, we can create just those emails for you. That's totally okay. But you get 6 months of support one on one with me and my automations guy. So, which means you will have access to this. And if you're somebody who thinks, well, you know what, this sounds great. I think I need somebody on a monthly basis with me, and also rebuilding your funnels inside your systems, rebuilding your automations, creating new funnels, creating new automations. And you don't want to pay one off, like, $3,000, $5,000 for one funnel. Instead, you also want my expertise because we have quarterly calls and engagements with this. So you know that you just have to work on the business while I work in the business. Then the tier three would be the perfect setup for you. I just have a few spots for tier three because it's a very, very custom setup. So before I increase the price, make sure to go ahead, click on this link. You can feel free to book a call with me. When you click on this, you will be taken into a discovery call form. Complete all of the questions, find a time that works for you, complete the questions. Um, you know, so you know exactly what's going on, so you know the pricing even before we get on this call. So this is going to be a more focused build, so you know exactly how we work with founders and people who can help. So if you want me to audit your conversions path and show you exactly how things work, so you know what to do with this for your business, and not just have somebody doing your migrating your stuff, and not just somebody who's just doing random things. You're going behind freelancers and you're tired of somebody not understanding strategy, then all that ends here, right? Choose one of these packages, book a call with me. The link to book a call here is right below this. So, like I mentioned, I do this for a living. Building conversation and revenue engines is part of it. When I say conversation and revenue engines, I know it sounds fantastic, but it's putting together the strategy for your business, consolidating everything, creating the strategy, right? So understanding how things flow in your business. So with funnels and automations and embedding AI and stuff, then in future, when you're ready to scale, we can have many chat automations, all of that in place. Because a lot of people, I learned in a mastermind recently, I paid $5,000 for a mastermind recently, and I learned that a lot of people, once they test and something works, they just say nice and then move on to another thing. But a lot of times, what big businesses do that we fail to do is they try to go deeper into stuff. So, which means you create, let's say, one quiz, and then you think, hey, this quiz works. They test it for 6 months and then they scrape it off, they create another quiz. And then now they're confused as to why things don't work. But instead, when you hire somebody like me, right? I call myself, when you do the 15,000 package, I become your chief marketing officer, but a fractional chief marketing consultant for you. So, what we do is we see how to take a small thing and then amplify it using different sources, with your Facebook, with your Instagram, with your YouTube ads, with your Pinterest, maybe if you use, and then how we can go dive, maybe with a quiz funnel, with a webinar funnel, inside using ManyChat automation. So, which means we test one thing, make it work really well, and deep dive using other platforms so we can amplify on what's working. And that is the difference between an average 4 or a 5 or a struggling coaching or a course creation business versus people like Alex Ramosi, Gary Vee, and Digital Marketer Lab, everybody that I'm seeing. So if you are done struggling with stuff and then you want somebody to just handle things for you, and you want a strategic mind to take a look at all of that, just click the link below and then book a call with me. I'll see you in another session.